the safe, grab money in my crack, hit the streets and try to turn a fucking dollar to a stack. Who's that nigga? Lurking in the staircase, waiting for your ass to go to work so I can take you safe. Just when you think to save your body in a fucking brace, cause I'm that nigga who will beat you if you out of place. Who's that nigga? Snitching to the police. He from the south, so he snitching on the whole east. Who's that nigga that would drive down south and catch you while you sleeping, put the ratchet in your mouth? Who's that nigga? I'm that nigga. 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 Who's that nigga? Tricking on the whole first class to Bahamas by the bitch new clothes. I'm that nigga, I don't trip on the hoes, I just send them on the plane with a couple of O's. I'm that nigga who pimpin' your sister. She don't call me GIZMO, the bitch call me Mister. Who's that nigga? You is that nigga who rockin' tight pants from Tommy Hilfiger. But I'm that nigga, stay fresh to death, more fire through the wire like Kanye West. I said, who's that nigga? I ain't your chain, same nigga finna put a big hole in your frame. Yes, I'm that nigga from UCY. So much fire in the camp and no fish to fry. Yes, I'm that nigga, the mass bank robber. I'm calling more shots than a fucking Godfather. Who's that nigga? I'm that nigga. 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 Some niggas selling trees just to get that bread. Not me, I'd rather send my goons to wet that head. I'm on the block, pretty Glock, going pop, pop, pop. While you bitches on the internet screaming, that's hot. Y'all need hugs, y'all just some MySpace thugs. While y'all sending comments, I'll be on the strip with my drugs. Yes, I'm that nigga inside the penitentiary. They only gave me 3, but I almost got a century. Oh, who's that nigga? No scar on the face. Hungry lawyers scrape the plate and beat the shit out the case. Yes, who's that nigga? I'm that nigga, the one you should call if you need a fucking killer. Tell me who illa, flow ugly like Thriller. I'm trying to cop a pen, same color as vanilla. Y'all niggas already know what time it is, it's GIZMO. I'm that nigga, Doc's that nigga, James that nigga, Juicy Y, nigga.